I know it's been a little bit since I've uploaded any videos for the all-wheel drive Civic, but I have been working on some stuff with it behind the scenes. There's been like delays in getting parts and stuff because of the virus. I just figured I'd throw together these clips that I've already recorded and kind of show you where it's at now. But progress is progress, so let's get to the video. So on the rear, I finally took the time to take out my fuel pumps because they were mounted right here previously. So it utilized that hole, and they hit them through like a hole up here for the little adapter plate they made. And then on my rear brake lines, previously I had rubber lines on here. So I just bought some pieces of -3 hose, -3 brake line. So I got a banjo on this end, and then the other end's a -3. You can see I put a T in it right there. So obviously it's not going to be laying on the drive shaft when it's finished. I've got to get all of them mounted up wherever I want to put them. But then the fuel pumps will be mounted differently than they were before. They're not going to be back here because the fuel tank is going to sit up here. So I may put the fuel pumps on that side over there. I'm not really sure yet. Hub City diff mount. It's got a CRV diff, insane shaft, 500 horsepower axles, which I think is going to be enough. Most of this power is going to be going to the front, so I did put some ESN toe links in there. This diff, I welded the spider gears and then I pinned the clutches, so it's pretty much full-time engagement on the rear. Hopefully that'll help save the axles too, because you won't have just one that's pulling. It's going to be both of them, you know, on the hit. So I think the hit's probably when I would have run the most risk of popping an axle. So I think that'll help a lot. So you can see here I've got some of the old brake lines out. I also took, that's the factory emergency brake. It's the rear e-brake cables. Don't need those anymore. Then also I've got my Willwood staging brake mounted. I've still got to do a little cleanup on it. I got some little tabs to mount these lines down with. Still got to bleed it out some more. Still got a little bit of air in it, but yeah, it's an inline, so it still retains the factory rear brakes with the pedal. I don't really know if I've documented these before. I do have the S2000 steering wheel in here, so I've got an EK column that I took and put the EG brackets on. So it's a non-tilt column. Still, I put all the bracketry off of the original column onto the EK column, and that allowed me to mount the S2000 steering wheel. Feels real good. I've had this in here for a while. It was in here when the car was front wheel drive. No issues with this. I also put a AIM digital dash in here. The dash is still kind of filthy because I haven't cleaned it in a while. And I've got that all wired up to where it goes to the ECU for the CAN signal and everything. I just made a little block off plate out of some thin metal and stuff, and then mounted this. I mean, it's pretty rigid. It's not going anywhere. And it mounts to the factory location where the original cluster mounted. And so this car already had this. This is a port to go to the ECU, and then this is the port for the cluster to change up, you know, the backgrounds and stuff on it. And also I bought this switch plate from Greg Parts. It's 3D printed. Ordered a couple switches for it. Right now this one's going to work my fuel pumps. This one will work the water pump because I got an electric water pump. And then this one will be a fan override. You can hear it kick on, right? So the way it's operating, the way I've got it wired up, is it goes through a relay. And the relay, if it's not activated, the fan will work as factory. So it'll work with the temp switch and whatnot. But if I'm just sitting idling and I want the fan to kick on and keep the car cool, I can just hit that switch and keep it cool. I don't know what I'm going to use the other 3 switches for, but they have the option in the future if I need it. I'll probably just get some little dummies and put over these for now. But yeah, that's the updates on the interior right now. So I got a weight plate made. I went to my local steel place, and they have a plasma cutter and but anyway, I made a cardboard template for this weight plate. So basically I set my front bumper down, trace this outer edge on the cardboard, cut it out, and then kind of made it to fit where, you know, it would made it to the traction bar here. And so it's also giving me some places to mount stuff like my battery. It'd be a good shelf for the intercooler, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just made the cardboard template, took it down there to them, and they cut this out of 1/2-inch thick steel with the plasma cutter, so it's a pretty clean cut. Should add some decent weight up here. I used to just have a small weight plate that kind of come off here, and it squared off and went straight across and then squared back, and it just wasn't very friendly to the bumper whenever you'd bump something, because of the sharp edge, you know, where it would square off, it would stab the bumper. But this should be better. It should support the bumper all the way across. This will sit just inside of the bottom of the bumper, so give me a nice place to mount a couple things maybe, and it will support the bumper and also give me a little more extra weight up front. So we're gonna tack weld this. I've got a wire welder here, so we're gonna tack weld this, and then I'm gonna take it over to my buddy's shop. He's got a nicer welder, and we can finish welding it over there. But yeah, we'll just get her tacked in place, make sure she's good and level, side to side, front to back, and then like I say, get a couple good tack welds on it, and then take the whole traction bar off, take it over to his shop, and finish welding it out, and then we'll paint it, do all that good kind of stuff. Alright, so I kind of got the weight plate, just I got a few tacks on it to hold it to the traction bar. It's level across, level front to back. Stuck my intercooler back on here, and the core support is not exactly level up here, so I've got the jegs paper in here just to kind of space it up to make it level, you know, make the intercooler level, and it also picked the core support up. So the core support is cut up pretty good to allow for clearance and stuff. I may eventually take this upper core support off and just do a tubular upper core support, and I think that would help too. But I think what I may do is maybe get some tabs welded on here, and just to put a support to where it holds the intercooler level as well as the bumper level. Well, it'll hold the bumper level and also the upper core support level. I had to cut a little bit off of the corners because it wouldn't clear these big old things in the corner, get it on and off. Also, I took them that cardboard template, like I said a minute ago. They didn't make it quite as big as a template. It's got a pretty big gap, like between here and the edge of the bumper. So it's about a 2-inch gap between here and the edge of the bumper, but it gets pretty close to the edge of the bumper up here. So I don't know. It should have came, you know, from maybe here out some more and then in, but it looks like they just radiused it pretty tight. It'll still work, and it's more weight than I had. So I mean, overall, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna clean this little bit of mill scale and surface rust off of it, you know, after I get it all finished welded out and paint it. And then we're gonna mount the battery over here. It looks kind of crappy right now, but I didn't want to like finish it out before I knew exactly where everything is going to be mounted. So now that I got the weight plate, I can figure out configurations on mounting the battery and whatnot. And I didn't make this weight plate all the way to the back of the bumper because I wanted to make sure I had clearance for turning and stuff with the tires. I didn't want the tires to come in contact with it at all. So I've got plenty of clearance here. So anyway, so we're going to move on. Well, just picked up the weight plate and I had it welded to the traction bar. Had these added to mount my radiator, and then also added these to be able to strap it down. Yep, she ain't going nowhere. That baby's heavy too. Now I gotta sand it down and paint it. It'll be ready to go. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at this point. A couple more things that I don't think I've put in there. I do have the full turbo kit on. Well, I say the full turbo kit. I've still got to get the intercooler pipe fabbed, and also I got to get exhaust fabbed up, and then still waiting on the fuel cell. I ordered a fuel cell, all-wheel drive fuel cell, back on like April 10th, and I think today's April the 29th. I called them yesterday, April 28th, and they said that it should be coming out by Friday. So hopefully we'll be seeing a fuel cell pretty soon. And then I can finish buttoning up the fuel system. I got the injectors on, the fuel rails on, but there's nothing past the fuel rails. We already mounted the regulator on the fuel rail, so hopefully once the fuel cell comes in, get the fuel system buttoned up and be able to start it. So anyways guys, I appreciate you tuning in. See you next time. Peace.